and gentlemen, the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. I'm Steve Kim, joined by Mohegan's son, Mario Lopez. Big weekend.
I thought you were just going to go Mohegan Mario. It's got to be lyrical.
The whole thing.
Come on, Kimster. Come on. Shout out Smoking Tim Frazier, Buffalo Knuckles, and Tino on the edits.
Yes, we've got a big show. Let's go back. Saturday night, we were in good hands at the State Farm Arena, Atlanta, Georgia on ESPN. And we have a new WBO 130-pound champion. Shakur Stevenson dominates Jamel Herring, stopping him in 10. Mario at 17-0, 9 knockouts. He's only 24 years old, a 2-time world champion. He looks tough to beat. I don't know who in the next 5-6 years, realistically, can really beat this guy.
First of all, I want to talk about the event itself. Atlanta was on fire because it was hosting the NLDS with the Braves and the Dodgers. We should actually flurry that collapse a little bit later. But at the same time, literally in the same evening, they were hosting this fight. And man, the stars came out. Offset, Migos, Kanye.
Yay.
Yay.
Get it right, man.
Yay. And there was a bunch of folks, Michael B. Jordan, there was a bunch of folks out there. So they really came out. I was like, oh, okay, which was nice to see because, again, the NLDS was there and these celebrities came out. It's nice to see them support the sport and really make it a big event, and was packed and sold out. And I'm glad that Shakur delivered because, as he pointed out, that Tim Bradley pointed out, it was sort of a boring performance in his last fight. I like Shakur, and I want to root for him. Anybody that has big dimples and a nice smile and is tough, I'm rooting for. Whether it's Shakur, Shane Mosley, you know what I mean? I like that kid, and he's got the package to be a real star, but you got to perform in the ring, and he did. Jamel Herring, who I was fortunate enough to sit next to at the Fury Wilder fight, I couldn't like that guy enough, both as an athlete, how he carries himself as a professional, and as a person. Former Marine, married guy, just a solid quality individual. But I got to say, I'm disappointed with his approach towards the fight, because when we discussed him going in there, making it a dogfight, not giving him respect, getting nasty with him, didn't happen. He was fighting him at a distance, tried to counterpunch.
Tentative.
He was reluctant, and Shakur's speed had him on pins and needles and actually wore him out with his feints. He looked tired, and Jamel's a very well-conditioned athlete. And I was like so frustrated and disappointed by his approach. I wanted him to go in there and fight the way we had discussed. Not that I was trying to give him any sort of strategy pointers, but it seemed like that was the logical approach, right? Because you got a young, fast, sharp kid in front of you who could pick you apart if you let him, and that's exactly what happened. He stood at arm's length. He didn't try to get inside, didn't try to make it. He had maybe a couple moments, but they were few and far between. You cannot touch this kid. And he's keeping that pretty face clean because he is so hard to hit. He methodically started breaking him down. I thought the stoppage was justified, and it was fine. I had no problem with it. And I thought he put an exclamation point on that win, and it was a very impressive performance.
You don't play chess with Bobby Fischer. And look, he's a Marine, and when you storm the beaches of Normandy, there's a price to pay. There's a casualty.
That's exactly the
analogy.
Well, not only the analogy, the strategy that he should have used. And he's a smart guy. I don't know why. Maybe he thought I'm going to measure after the first 2 rounds. He should have made that adjustment, Kim.
I mean, look, when you saw the fight between Chavez and Taylor, you knew early on that Chavez was going to be outsped, and Meldrick's throwing these incredible combinations, but Chavez understood there's a price to pay. It's on the back end where I could make up the difference here. It never happened. And by the first 3 rounds, while he's out there kind of pawing, and he's out there very tentative, a little bit hesitant, I'm thinking to myself, Jamel, you're in a lot of trouble because you're now trapped in his style. I have to give Shakur Stevenson credit. I think he's the boxing version. This is an old school NBA reference of Bernard King. What a mid-range game.
You really went back.
Yes, I did. Because there's a certain area of space where Shakur literally is stealth. He disappears in front of you and he hits you. Look, is he a great Julian Jackson-like puncher? No. But he hits you in a blind way where you don't see the punches coming. And they make you hesitant to even throw your own punches. He takes away your offense because he's a master of distance and spacing. And I'm just looking at this going, wow, what a master boxer. Look, are there going to be certain nights where he's not that exciting or entertaining? Yes. So was Floyd Mayweather.
Well, I was just going to make that comparison, and in a different way, and forgive me if you think this is a bad comparison, but like a Jojo Diaz, he doesn't have necessarily the heaviest of hands, but he knows how to position himself in distance and get his shots off and go out. Shakur's even faster in a sharper version.
And more elusive.
And defensively. So I would liken it more to Mayweather. So the type of guy that would give him troubles, much like a Mayweather, is like a Castillo, a guy that puts his head in there, that makes it rough, a Maidana who comes over the top with unorthodox shot and really makes it a fight. If you're going to try to go toe-to-toe with this kid and counterpunch him or slip, it's just not going to happen.
No. Maury, interesting thing about this event, you were on the East Coast. I want to get your perspective on this. Right. I was out in L.A. My trip to Miami got canceled. Talk about that later. But this is interesting. Xander Zayas, who we'll talk about later, finishes off Carpentry at 11:29 Eastern time. The walk-in didn't take till 12:01, so it's Sunday. It's a.m. The fight ended at about 1:45. Now, because of this show and you're a boxing fan, and look, you don't have to get up that early, I don't think, like a lot of other people. I have a question. I get that ESPN has to start some of these events during football season late. It's college football. Alabama's a brand. Good game with Tennessee. They pulled away late. My point is this, and people will say to me, well, Steve, don't you think that they have to wait for college football? I said, I'm not arguing that. Here's my point. You have a 4- and 6-rounder. The reason why you schedule those fights is so it's a quick transition over to the main event. Just quick appetizer. Do we really need a half hour in between each fight for these talking heads and 18 previews to go on?
You're exactly right, and I was just about to say the same thing. I understand the decision to go after college football. Of course.
No argument.
Zero. However, how great would it be on the heels of that, bam, you go right into the main event? Seriously. You can have the undercard on, like, let's say an ESPN2 or Plus.
And transition right to the main event.
Transition right to the main event.
Get to the filet mignon.
Exactly. Especially that late. Now, look, I happened to see this fight at a club, believe it or not. On my phone, where I was supposed to be. My cousin and I were drinking.
Fans, this is the effort Mario Lopez puts into the 3 knockdown
I saw
rule.
My cousin had one of those big phones, so I saw
a tablet.
Yeah, one of those. So we saw it on the phone there, and I actually saw it with no sound, which was great. I wasn't influenced by but I saw it, and I saw the whole thing, and I had a good time. I was in the club. I was supposed to be hanging out, which I was, having drinks, and we were watching the fight on the tablet. Had I been at home, bro, I might have nodded off, and I don't know, especially with kids there, and you got to keep it down to not wake anybody. That's frustrating. We get spoiled on the West Coast.
No, we do.
Whether it's fights, whether it's football, baseball, whatever the case may be.
The other thing is there's no other sport that says we're going to take our biggest events, and they're going to happen right around midnight. Excuse me? And then people argue, well, Steve, doesn't Monday Night Football start late? Well, it used to start at 6. Now it starts at about 5:15. But here's the difference. With Monday Night Football, as you said, we're getting right to the main event. And if the game's a blowout by halftime, you could switch it off. Boxing has these interminably long delays, and they stretch the thing out. Because remember, they're not giving you the main event till the very end.
I think we just figured it out. They have to transition right to the main event, and they have the undercard on an ESPN2, a Plus, what have you.
A lot of apps now.
Yeah.
A lot of avenues.
Exactly. Let's serve that purpose.
All right, so anyway, but Shakur Stevenson with a dominant performance, taking the title from Jamel Herring. All right, going on to some news and notes. Mario, I think we finally have a light at the end of the tunnel, and I don't think it's a locomotive. The Zone and Matchroom have announced November 27th at the Hulu Theater in New York. The lightweight championship is on the line. Teofimo Lopez takes on George Kambosos. Also, December 5th, it was announced last week, and we'll talk about this afterwards. Staples Center in Los Angeles. Tank Davis is coming to town, taking on Rolly Romero on Showtime pay-per-view. Mario, literally, it's been about a year plus since we saw Teofimo Lopez defeat Vasily Lomachenko.
Okay, we're going to talk about that first. Look, a series of bad events happened, right? It was scheduled in Triller, then he got COVID, then there was some financial situations that Kambosos wasn't happy with, and they tried to move the date, and Triller had to save some money to try to relocate the fight. Series of unfortunate events. Not for a second do I think Tio's ducking him or avoiding him. Come on. The guy took on the monster with Lomos. I don't think any of that. I just think it's really bad luck and bad timing, okay? There's no reason why it shouldn't happen, but can I tell you something? What really kind of upset me, and I thought was so foolish, is when I saw the Mountain from Game of Thrones hitting Teofimo as hard as he could right in the solar plexus.
He's conditioning the body, Mario. Come on.
Is this kid trying to get this fight delayed again? Is he trying to get killed?
Not a fan, huh? Not a fan.
Bro, that was so full. How could his dad let him do that? Even if first of all, the Mountain couldn't have been going full strength, right? He would have knocked that kid through the window. So even if he wasn't, even 20%, 30%, bro, why risk something like that? Am I being the grumpy old man right now and thinking that was incredibly foolish?
In sparring, when guys are a little bit around the same age or same weight, I've seen broken ribs happen. Robbie Peaton broke the ribs of Marco Antonio Barrera one time and got a fight postponed. Now, I'm not saying the Mountain knows how to punch, but we're still talking about physical force.
Of course, you don't have to know how to punch when you're 6'9", 400 pounds. Come on. It's like hitting you with a bat.
And by the way, a funny story. So one day, I'm at Wildcard. This is years ago, and one of the fighters and their trainers were taking the medicine ball to a fighter that was laid out on the floor, and he was pounding the stomach. And Freddie's out there. I'm wrapping my hands, and Freddie goes, "That is so stupid." I go, "What do you mean?" "That." I go, "But aren't you supposed to condition your lower body, and you can take the body shots?" He goes, "Steve, can I ask you a question?" I go, "Yeah. If you were a fighter, would you allow your trainer to take a medicine ball and beat you over the head with it and say, well, that's going to condition me for punches at the head?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Then what the hell are they doing?" It made a lot of sense.
Well, that's
makes a lot of sense,
case
doesn't
in point. Exactly. I did not. So that was frustrating to see. But I think the fight will finally go off. Hopefully, he can just pick up momentum, assuming he has a nice performance. Kambosos is a really focused, disciplined guy, though, so I think we're going to get the best version of him, and that should be an exciting fight. Now, as far as Tank and Raleigh, dude, I like me some Raleigh. I like that the kid, he's a character. That press conference was hilarious.
You damn fucking scared? What the fuck am I scared of? You was there? Man, you a stupid fucking dwarf, man. I'm telling you, man, I can't even mess with your fucking head. I can't even mess with your fucking head. It's so fucking big, like this fucking big. Your fucking little T-Rex arms, man. My dick's longer than your fucking arms. Yeah. I'm gonna knock this chump the fuck out. Like that.
We ain't trying to hit none of that. I'm coming to fight. If it was the streets, these niggas would have been smoked. And that's what it is. 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 You trash. You trash. He got a fur on, it's 80 degrees. It's crazy. With big ass shoes. Man, it's crazy, bro. This nigga a clown. Nigga Jake Paul. It's crazy.
Isn't he just a poor man's Ricardo Mayorga, though? He stands no chance in this
And
fight.
I like Ricardo Mayorga.
Okay.
That's a great analogy. But it's fun. It's fun. I agree with you. He's just kind of like the hip-hop version of Ricardo Mayorga. But I think he's fun. It was 1,000 degrees. He rolled up with that mink coat. And he started talking about his appendage was taller than he was.
Oh, wow. Hey.
I thought that was the PG version to describe that. But it was funny, man. He was funny. And he was, I thought, good TV. I'm actually looking forward to it. Yeah, look, do I think it's going to be competitive? No. But do I think it'd be fun while it lasts? Sure.
Yeah, all 94 seconds. Here's the issue. Question I wanted to ask you. December 5th is actually a Sunday. Now, Showtime seems to be kind of going away from the traditional Saturday all the time. They're now using that other day. I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea because I've spoken about, hey, let's use alternate days.
Sure.
Here's the problem. There's a 3-lettered league called the NFL. We have 2 teams in LA. I don't know where they play that day, but boy, that's a tough one.
Do we know the times yet?
Well, I know one thing. This pay-per-view will probably start around 5 or 6 local time. So there's only going to be the prime time game on NBC.
Well, then that's not so
Maybe
bad.
that changes it.
Yeah, I think it does change it. Now, if there's one of the Rams or the Chargers or somebody plays, then okay, then it could be problematic. But I don't have a problem with that, and we've discussed that before. Now, ironically, I do wish the fight was a little earlier because on Sunday night you got to get up early.
Let's do some day drinking. You like to day drink.
I'm a big day drinker. I mean, I'm a fan.
You
can wake up and have a productive day.
Moving on with the 3 knockdown rule on Triller with Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. We got a buzzkill here. Dillian White was supposed to face Otto Wallin this Saturday. He has pulled out of the bout. Let's just put it this way. Otto Wallin and his team are very, very skeptical. And also, real bad news here, Mario. Josh Taylor's December 18th bout versus Jack Catterall has been scrapped due to a knee injury. He'll return February 26th. Mario, that's another pound-for-pound guy that's only going to have one fight in 2021.
You know I'm really high on him. I really like. Well, how did he injure himself again?
It's just training. But I have a theory. I think these guys train so much and they don't fight enough. I think they overtrain and put strain on their bodies. Back in the old days when the guys fought more, if you actually go through the media reports and you Google stuff, once in a while you get a hand injury, you'd get a cut.
But it was rare, huh?
It was kind of rare.
I know that's unfortunate to hear. He's a young guy, and I think had all the momentum. And I was really excited about Josh Taylor and Dillian White too. I feel bad for. I know these things happen, but it's unfortunate when they fight so infrequently.
Well, here's the thing: Otto Wallen and his team are saying, "Well, wait a minute. Are you only pulling out because you think you have a shot with Tyson Fury?" My view is this: the WBC, which mandated this fight, has got to say, "Excuse me, Dillian. That's the eliminator. You want to eliminate yourself from the fight, then Otto Wallin gets the shot."
Right.
This is the time where they need to step up.
I agree.
Mario, my good friend Mike Coppinger at the Four Letter Network reported late last week that Devin Haney, Joseph Diaz is close to being finalized. Mario, with the way they're going back and forth on Twitter, because they're counter-tweeting each other masterfully, have they now basically made it clear they are going to take the fight? How much faith do you have that this fight's going to happen December 3rd?
I think it's inevitable, especially on the heels of Garcia being injured and not happening. I think Golden Boy wants it, needs it, and I don't see any reason why it won't happen. Do you?
I don't either. And look, make this clear again. This is the variable. If the money is the same for Joseph Diaz, take the fight. I'm not asking him to take less money. I'm asking him to take the same opportunity.
I believe he mentioned it was.
Yes, and if it is, look, what if you win the fight? Now you're really in the driver's seat, as far as I'm concerned.
No details yet on location.
I think it's going to be in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Keep this in mind. December 3rd is a Friday. That would be the zone. December 4th, I think there's going to be a card. December 5th will be Tank versus Rolly. That's Boxing Palooza
Merry
2021.
Christmas.
Mario, going back to November 27th, I had heard that's the date for Oscar De La Hoya for his exhibition bout. Are there still plans for that?
No, not at the moment.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Why not?
Not at the moment. I think COVID took a lot out of him, and he wants to regroup, and also opponent or lack thereof, all those factors. Remember, he doesn't need to do this.
No. Fight preview. This Saturday, we have dueling cards. Saturday on ESPN Plus from the Hulu Theater in New York. Junior welterweight Jose Zepeda takes on the prospect Josue Vargas. And then at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas on Showtime, welterweight in action. Jamal James takes on Radzab Butayev. And Mario, one of the fighters that I'm sky high on, if he was a stock, he's apples 20 years ago. I'm buying him hand over fist. Geron Boots Ennis takes on Thomas Delorme.
Wow, that's going to be a fun night. Jose Zepeda, I've been seeing him recently because he trains out of Brick House.
All right, is he actually taking this fight seriously?
Club.
That last fight was the disgrace.
Well, and then he's training with my boy Julian Chua, who's been really on fire. And as of late, he just trained Marvin Vittori coming off a big win with Paulo Costa. And
I
you'll
like
see
that
more on
switch.
that later. Yeah, Julian's doing a really good job. He's an impressive young trainer, smart young guy. He's got Zurdo over there now. Zepeda, he's really building up a nice little stable. Brian Valoria's over there training as well. And he's one of those guys that's naturally really talented, Zepeda, and I like him. And he's got the knockout of the year, I think. But it's like he's one of those football teams that play to the level of their competition.
He's Dow Jones, up and down.
Yeah, and so we don't know what we're going to get. So it gets a little...
Well, now wait a minute. This time, unlike Hank Lundy, who everyone thought was shot and finished, and Hank ended up having something left. We were at that fight. That was on the Taylor Ramirez co-main. I remember halfway through going, someone set the alarm clock. Wake up. You may not be winning. I thought he eked by. It was not a great performance. Jose Zepeda has always been talented, but a bit temperamental. He's not a passionate guy about the sport. Now, this fight, Vargas is a New York guy. He's going into the Lions Den.
But exactly. Well, it's funny that you say that because, and again, he's a real nice guy. Him and Mercito Gesta were about to spar, right? I've never seen fighters, both of them got their hands wrapped. They didn't shadow backs around. Then they just went in the ring and started throwing chingazos. That was it. And it was a good 6 rounds of hard chingazos. I was like, whoa, maybe that's just youth, but I've never seen them not shadow box, warm up, not even around, Kim, and just started going in there and throwing down. And that sparring was heated and spirited. But that was interesting. I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah,
I was just pointing that out.
If he's focused and he actually feels a threat, I think he's too good for Vargas. We come back on the 3 knockdown rule on Triller. We go to Ask Mario. and final flurries. And we're back on the 3 knockdown rule on Triller. Let's go to the Ask Mario segment of the program. Here's one from Ryan Longer. What did you make of the career of Kelly the Ghost Pavlik, and how do you think he would fare today? Love the Ghost.
Wow, I love the Ghost too. Him fighting. It's funny because I'll never forget where I was when he fought Jermaine Taylor. The first time I was actually in his home state of Ohio.
Really?
Not in Youngstown, but in Ohio, watching it, and the bar and the people they were really into it, so it made it a lot of fun. But the way he rose from the canvas, remember, twice, was it?
Dramatic fight.
And Jermaine Taylor, this was on the heels of him beating Bernard Hopkins twice. I was like, wow, big kid, strong kid, long punches, someone that just didn't know how to handle fame, man.
His demons. And I think he seems to be pretty happy now. He's doing a podcast. I see him at fights.
I like him. I like the guy. He seems like a nice guy from this steel town, and it's a real, just down home working guy. But God, just a lot of I think potential where he could have had an incredible career as opposed to just a really nice career.
The drinking issues were well chronicled. I was close to him in his camp. Jack Lowe, the manager, a couple of people around the family. Cameron Duncan managed him.
Yeah, Cameron Duncan.
And it felt like he was going to be the guy that took the baton from Arturo Gatti as the franchise fighter of Atlantic City.
Yeah, white guy, whooped ass, heavy-handed.
I was there when he fought Gary Lockett, this hopelessly overmatched British guy. Every single seat was sold out for that fight. By the way, at one of their fights, Columbus or Youngstown, Ohio, basically, I'm not kidding, they literally ran out the beer taps. Wow. Bars ran out of beers that weekend. It had never happened before.
Not since Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
And then he never got over the loss to Hopkins. I think that stayed on his mind. I don't think his heart was ever in it.
I think it was the demons. And again, because Taylor had beat him twice, maybe he thought that it would be. And then the training, I remember, he didn't have a solid camp. He was easily distracted. Success is hard to deal with for a lot of people. But, man, I really liked him. He had that short stint with Robert Garcia.
Yes.
Remember?
And everyone loved him on Oxnard.
Yeah.
He spoke very highly of him as an individual.
Really good dude. Really good dude. I can't believe he made middleweight. He was a big kid,
yes.
too.
Here's one from Derek Batista. Hey, Stephen Mario. If Nico Ali Walsh and Evan Holyfield fought tomorrow, who would win? I'll say this about Evan Holyfield. He looked a little timid in his fight. Man, he's got heavy hands, though.
Man, when he let those hands go, he cracked them,
Bang!
Huh? I know. That was kind of cool to see.
Mario, what do you think? Because I know there's been a lot of derision about the coverage. It almost seems gratuitous of Nico Ali Walsh by ESPN. They literally spent the first 15, 20 minutes previewing this. And I'm thinking, okay, I get it for the pro debut. But now, if this kid's going to be serious, don't we just kind of let him develop like a real fighter?
Unnecessary pressure. I mean, it's like Michael Jordan's son if he was going to start. But it's even more so because all eyes are on him. He's an individual, as a fighter, and it's. I would be asking to calm it down. I don't. If I was Nico Ali Walsh, but we'll see what the kid's made of when he starts stepping up in competition.
Absolutely. And here's a tweet from John Herndon, longtime fan, very intelligent boxing man. Who would you like to see Shakur Stevenson fight next? And I think there's two answers. Stuff that we have in our fantasy, stuff that's realistic, right?
Well, I'd like to see, and I think it is realistic, him unify division and fight Oscar Valdez. That'd be a fun fight. Oscar's a guy who you would think would make it dirty and nasty and get in there and not try to go toe-to-toe and outbox him. So that'd be a fun fight while it lasts. I would also, after that, like to see him go up a weight class and take on these guys who won't fight each other. Maybe he will, and I think he's a very live dog in all those fights.
Love to see him in Tank.
Exactly. Him and Tank would be, that's the one I'd like. I
boxer
think outside
versus
of Teo,
puncher.
because I think Teo's a little too strong still for him. Yeah. Naturally bigger guy, but him and Tank would be a fun fight too.
I don't know if Oscar Valdez and his team right now would be running towards Shakur Stevenson. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, I don't think they're running towards him, but you asked me who I'd like to see, and I think because of the belt implications, that'd be a fight. Wouldn't you like to see that?
Absolutely. Another fight that'd be very interesting because they missed each other at 126. And here's a guy, he ain't playing chess. He's playing two-handed checkers. Emmanuel Navarrete.
That's another guy. Yes, that's exactly.
I mean, that guy. He'll say, "You know what? I'm just going to throw."
Hey, that's one guy that's not going to sit back and try to counter.
Now, do I think those fights will happen next? No. Here's what I think are interesting fights, and even these fights have issues. How about Chris Colbert? Because you talk about rough, rugged guys facing Shakur. How about fast, reflexive guys? How about some of those? Chris Colbert does not have a lot of power, A lot of speed, though. He's got
lot
a
of
boxing
speed.
IQ.
Sure.
Sheik Foster, that's a guy people brought up to me. Look, I want to see him fight sluggers, boxers, athletic guys, reflexive guys. Put it this way.
He's got options.
He's got options. Let's hope he fights 3-4 times next year. Here's one from Ignacio Ortiz. What do you guys think of Ordenis Ugas being denied a unification against Spence? And how good of a fight is JoJo versus Haney going to be? We've talked about that. Here's the situation. The WBA basically said to Ugas, they turned down his request to fight Errol Spence. I actually saw the WBA letter. Here's the issue. Are we sure Spence is next? Given his status, there's no guarantee that Spence is going to be available by February, because in the letter it said the PBC requested the date of February 22nd, 2022. Because remember, unification bouts trump mandatories.
Sure.
But now the WBA is trying to clean up their messes with the multiple titles. My view is this. I don't think there's a guarantee that Spence is going to be available. By the way, Ugas versus Imantas Stanionis, that bull that trains with Freddie Roach, that's a real fight.
That's a fun fight. Not as loud, obviously. Look, are we giving up hope that if Crawford were to get past Porter, that Spence Crawford would happen?
You know what I'm hearing? You know where Errol Spence has been the last week or two?
Where?
Dubai.
That's right. I saw him in a
And when you're in Dubai, you're meeting with somebody and you are negotiating something. I actually believe that fight is now percolating in the mind of Errol Spence if the money is right.
Ooh, okay, then better late than never.
I might have to get my sideburns ready.
Oh, sideburns are getting ready.
Here's one from the only Sanch.
Elvis Kim.
Thank you very much. Here's one from the only Sanch. Ask that bocce ball runner-up champ, Mario Lopez Viva. 2 questions.
Why am I runner-up?
What is the ceiling for Xander Zayas, and will low-maintenance Virgil Ortiz and Xander be the fighters to really ignite that Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry? Because the hype job Berlanga will lose before being ready for Canelo. Xander is developing well.
He is developing well. Look, you got to pump the brakes on calling the fighters the next great thing.
We did that with Verdejo. I was guilty.
We did that with Verdejo. I'm not saying it's going to be the case with Berlanga or not, because he's exciting and all those knockouts. Of course, it makes you pay attention. But what I've seen so far, Xander, and in being so young, seems to be the real deal. And at least they're developing him nicely, and he's on the right path. So the future looks bright.
Yeah, he's very, very...
And it's not.
Focused.
I wouldn't want the inevitable showdown with Virgil Ortiz. The inevitable showdown I would love to see is Virgil Ortiz versus Boots. That's a fight.
Yes. Here's the issue. Right now, Xander's only 19, and you
So
see
young.
And you see him physically.
Yeah.
He might be a middleweight by the time he goes for his world
exactly.
title. Bob Arum has said, "Look, I don't care what you say. We're not rushing him. All right, so don't ask." I said, "Okay, thanks, Bob."
Bob Arum will be 120 and Bob Arum will be 120 and still be out there doing. I love it.
So the other thing is Virgil Ortiz is, I don't know how long he's going to make 47 though. I really hope Golden Boy. I'm going to belabor the point. Get him that third fight this year. In my view, Virgil Ortiz has fought twice. It's been a couple months since he fought the Mean Machine. Let's get him out there again. Come on, Golden Boy.
He's been a good soldier.
Set the momentum for 2022. By the way, I didn't realize this. Virgil Ortiz is #1 in 2 sanctioning bodies. That title shot is near at 147.
It's inevitable.
Here's a question from Bobby Laguna.
Laguna, great name.
Do you see more fight cards happening in San Diego? Have promoters stayed away from it because there aren't many modern venues? Tons of memories at the San Diego Sports Arena.
It's now the Pachanga.
But I would be okay if they bulldoze that thing tomorrow. Wow, no respect for history or tradition. I spoke to Todd DeBuff, the president of Top Rank, yesterday, Sunday, and I said, "Todd, are you happy with Atlanta? Did you set a foundation?" "Oh, very. We're going back. Saw enough there that we can go back." I said, "What'd you think of San Diego?" "Yeah, we'll go back there too."
Oh, nice.
So and again, the attendance was hurt in San Diego because of the closed border. It's affected things. Here's the thing that gets me about San Diego. One of the reasons why the Chargers moved is they didn't have a modern stadium. They kept going back to what was called Jack Murphy Stadium. I was thinking,
Then it was the Q.
You're the 619 guy. Are there any new venues in San Diego?
No, there's like there's a new amphitheater where they perform. Where I told you my buddy saw fish.
Right.
There's in Chula Vista.
Right.
As a matter of fact, where I was born. But there's really not, other than Petco Park.
Wow. Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
People
interesting.
in San Diego, the climate's nice. It's pretty all the time.
Greatest city in America.
America's finest city.
America's finest
and
city.
they got stuff to do.
Okay. Going on to final flurries. Mario, yes, you came back from the Mohegan Sun from this past weekend. What did you do out there? What was it like?
They were, first of all, it's a trek out there. You take like a 6-hour flight to get to Boston.
Then you got to drive another hour and a half.
No, yeah, another hour, 2 hours with the traffic, a little over 2 hours. Then I got there and I hit the ground running. I did a lot of eating and drinking is what I did.
Saw that.
And it was the 25th anniversary of Mohegan Sun. That's a really nice casino. There's been some fights there, a lot of fights there. And you know who I saw in concert? Blake Shelton. A buddy of mine wanted to check him out. He was there. We were offered tickets. I said, all right. I didn't really know too many songs. Dude, it was good. I think I'm a fan now. And I've always kind of liked country music. I don't listen to it too often. I did trip out that the songs are really short. They're like a minute 10. It felt like he must have sang 40 songs because it was just so quick. Every song was really quick, but he puts on a good show. I enjoyed that. That was actually a lot of fun. So just there for the event itself, had a little corporate stuff to kind of do. Went with my cousin and a couple buddies met out there. And that's where I saw the fight in the club.
Right. Now, over there, what is the mask mandate when you're indoors with people?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I didn't have it on the whole time.
Yeah, I didn't see many people in your social media posts with masks. I'll tell you.
No, I don't think. I mean, if they did enforce them, no one was biting. I think they were pretty cool about it once you were in the casino.
NFL thoughts. Two things here. Joe Burrow, welcome to as Emmanuel Stewart would
what a
say,
big win, huh?
Elite. He's the guy, Joey Football. I like him. I was always a fan of his. Got Jamar Chase.
Where did they play? In Baltimore or Cincinnati?
In the end, they whipped him.
In Baltimore?
They whipped him.
Wow. My buddy Blanket's out there. When he told me the score, I was like, whoa,
They
that's
have found their
impressive.
guy. They have found their guy, and they
So
have
the
a
real
real.
deal.
This is the first team I saw really hit Lamar Jackson. I mean, physically punished him.
Defense must be fast.
Yes, it is good.
Nice.
Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, they're a good team.
Chargers
And-
had a bye week, so
yes,
we're going to see how
did.
they do this next
And
week.
I'm going to make a prediction right now. The Patriots and the Bill Belichick, they're okay.
Okay.
Mac Jones, Mac the Knife,
Yeah.
they're improving every week, and they found their quarterback. I'm not saying he's Brady, but he's good.
Speaking of quarterback, what's up with your boy Mahomes? He's been strong. He's thrown 9 interceptions. I heard he took one to the dome the other day with a knee.
That team has not been good the whole year. I think they're very soft.
Wow.
And they got to get back to basics. Defensively, it's almost like they're telling Patrick Mahomes every week, if you're Andy Reid, hey, Pat, we just need 45 points to win. Well, hello?
Yeah.
And he's pressing now. There are easy throws he's bypassing to try to make the 10-run home run. He's thrown an interception in 6 straight games.
Yeah.
He threw 6 interceptions last year, I think. He's already at 9.
Yeah.
So there is a precipitous decline.
In a tough division.
Right.
Too. I got to talk about for a second the Dodgers' collapse because they peaked with the Giants. This really almost threw a monkey wrench and ruined my weekend because with all that said, honestly, and I don't like to point a lot of fingers, but I feel like the mismanagement of the bullpen.
Games 1 and 2.
Games 1 and 2 did it. And then when you spot relieved Urias and then started him on 2 days rest, and with Scherzer, you took the only 20-game winner in baseball and ruined him. And then with Scherzer, it was just complete mismanagement. I'm so disappointed. We should have a dynasty, and I feel, and I don't want to put it on Roberts because I know a lot of decisions are made upstairs, but man, it was such a disappointment, especially off the heels of that wonderful series with the Giants.
I call it in the playoffs. Sometimes you got to be Kiss, and I don't mean Gene Simmons.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. And the
Analytics get in your way that time.
They do, and I believe analytics is actually effective for the long 162-game season.
You're exactly
But
right.
once you get into a condensed season, it's about, man, you got to have a gut feel.
Yeah.
You got to have a gut feel saying, okay, you know what? You're a couple pitches over your limit. You know what? You got all fall to rest. We're good. You're
tied 1-1, and you're going into the 6th. Rosario, who's had like and you're pitching to him with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Come on, you give him one right over the middle. Okay, I'm in a bad mood.
This isn't on Dave Roberts. There's no doubt about it. Mario, real quickly before we wrap it up, UFC preview. Pretty good card coming up here this week.
Yeah, well, you know what? I just want to give a shout out to my guy Dana White over there. He is closing the year out strong. The whole year has been incredibly solid. But talk about just amazing card after amazing card. This last week, which was not on pay-per-view, just ESPN Plus, Marvin Vittori fought Paulo Costa. You would appreciate this. He was like the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. of the MMA. This guy, he looks like a really buff Ricky Martin, right? The fight was supposed to be at 185. Then he said he couldn't make weight and negotiated it to 195. Then he couldn't do that like a week out, and he made it all the way to 205. Can you believe that? And then he barely made 205. Not of the fight, he's 230. And you got the guys coming in. Vittori's coming in at 218, who Julian Chua, we talked about earlier, trained. Somehow he was able to, it was a war for 5 rounds, and he ended up getting the decision. But, man, you could just see the size difference in there, so his stock went up. But next week, they're fighting in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, we'll talk about that one.
Ooh, Blachowicz is going to come up, the guy who'd beat Adesanya, and that's going to be a hell of a card. And then coming up, Cyril Gane is going to fight Francis Ngannou here in Anaheim in January to kick off the year. So shout out to Dana because it's some awesome stuff.
And next week, we're going to preview Canelo versus Plant, and UFC has a blockbuster pay-per-view that same night.
Yes, that's going to be tough. The remote control is going to be an
You better have that split screen going there, Mario, at your pad.
God, I know. Are you going to come over?
You can have tortas?
Okay, I'll have tortas.
I'm in. All right, well, anyway, that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule on Triller. On behalf of Mario Lopez, Smokin' Tim Frazier, Justin Buffalo Knuckles, and Tino, Little Giant Boxing, this is Steve Kim saying goodbye, everybody.